What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to more awesome Metroid Prime content, new content we can talk about with the future of Metroid Prime and of course now Metroid Prime Trilogy. Metroid Prime Remastered has been released on the Nintendo Switch as of last week and is off to an amazing start. It is the #1 selling game on the Nintendo eShop and is currently the #2 selling game on Amazon out of all the games, just right behind The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So Metroid Prime has made a huge comeback out of nowhere, seemingly. Of course, it has been rumored and talked about for the past 5 years that Nintendo was going to be re-releasing Metroid Prime and quite possibly the Metroid Prime Trilogy in HD on the Switch before the release of Metroid Prime 4. This dates back all the way to 2018. Various different people have rumored these re-releases, and of course Metroid Prime Remaster was the most recent one. Last year, Jeff Grubb was the one that rumored that Metroid Prime Remaster was going to be revealed at Nintendo's previous Direct in September of 2022, which of course did not happen. Nintendo did not show the game there. So it was coming at some point. We all knew it was coming. Now there's continued rumors including that there's going to be a Metroid Prime 2 remaster and Metroid Prime 3 remaster coming to the Switch in the not too distant future. No release date. The only thing being discussed is that they will be coming from the same person that rumored the Metroid Prime remaster, of course Jeff Grubb, but it's probably the smart thing on his part to not mention any dates about when these re-releases will be happening, because that's how you get expectations going too high for certain things to happen, and when they don't happen, you get yourself into big trouble. So good on him for not mentioning any date ranges. However, we will be seeing those games most likely soonish is my guess, and all the way back in 2017 when Nintendo announced Metroid Prime 4 at E3 of that year, many people, including myself, have assumed that Nintendo will be releasing Metroid Prime 1, 2, and 3 before the release of Metroid Prime 4, just because it makes a lot of sense. If you're going to be releasing just a number 4 in a series of games and not have the original 3 readily available, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot for the marketing of that 4th game to get people ready for it. You're not doing yourself any favors. So with or without that rumor, we have been talking about Metroid Prime Trilogy being released on the Switch or even Nintendo's next console, whichever comes first, for the last 5 years. And now the rumors have finally started to catch up with all that speculation. Now we have Jeff Grubb rumoring that Metroid Prime 2 and 3 will be coming in the not too distant future. However, there's an interesting caveat to this rumor, and that is Metroid Prime 2 and 3 will not have the same treatment as Metroid Prime 1 in terms of their graphical overhaul and remastering, but they'll be more like a HDified version of Metroid Prime 2 and 3, which has sent some people to be a little bit concerned about the quality of these possible ports coming to the Switch, which should be not quite the same graphical overhaul as Metroid Prime 1 Remastered. However, the very interesting thing to talk about though in this video is I'm going to show you a possible preview of what these games could look like if they're being re-released as an HD remaster for the Switch in the not too distant future, and how this would actually not be a bad thing. Because believe it or not, Metroid Prime 2 and 3 were substantially improved over the original Metroid Prime game on the GameCube. Even Metroid Prime 2 was a very noticeable graphical leap over the original game released in 2002. It came out 2 years later. Retro Studios had perfected their craft on the GameCube, and the game had much higher quality textures, higher quality, more detailed character models, a totally revamped and improved particle system on the GameCube in Metroid Prime 2. And the games have aged extremely well, especially in HD. Metroid Prime Trilogy 1, 2, and 3 have all been playable on Dolphin for many years now with various mods, texture mods, lighting mods, all while running them in 4K 60 frames per second. So what I'm going to show you here is some comparisons of what Metroid Prime 2 and 3 look like both on the original hardware on the Wii versions and on Dolphin running in high quality HD with AI upscaled textures. Now keep in mind that AI upscale textures are not necessarily a given for a HD remaster for Metroid Prime 2 and 3. However, they would be quite easy to do because the versions that I am running on Dolphin were done by fans in a very short period of time, basically taking the original textures and running them all through an HD upscaler, which reprocesses each and every texture of the game and upscales them to HD, so when you put them back into the game, the textures look more detailed even though they're not actually different textures. It's getting to be a very popular technique when done correctly by developers when they're porting old games to new consoles in HD. A lot of developers are now using AI upscaling to make the textures look a lot better without actually revamping and redoing the textures, simply by using an AI program. It's a very cost-effective way to make an old game look new again, and that's exactly what I'm showing in this video. Metroid Prime 2 and 3, I'm running them simply in HD with AI upscale textures. There is no change to the models, and there's no actual swapping of different textures. It's the same textures, simply using AI upscaling to make them look better in higher resolutions. Now, of course, some textures won't look quite accurate doing this method. However, like I said, it is the most cost-effective and easiest way to do it. So if Retro Studios and a developer like Iron Galaxy, for example, is working on an HD remaster of Prime 2 and Prime 3, and for whatever reason they're not putting forth more time to make them actually using the same type of fully remade assets as Metroid Prime 1, then this most likely would be the way they make the games look on the Nintendo Switch. Now granted, they may not use AI upscaling for all the textures, they may actually redo some of them to make them look a lot better on your HD display, especially ones that kind of warp and look differently due to AI upscaling, and not to mention having to redo the entire HUD in HD and all the text in HD. So there would be some work involved, but quite possibly not as much work. And as you may notice, the actual art and assets of the original games hold up extremely well in HD in the modern era. Yes, there's some lower detail models that could use a touch-up, but overall, both of these games have aged extremely well over time, and they were a marked improvement over Metroid Prime 1, which did need the most work, and it looks gorgeous, of course, as we've seen on the Metroid Prime 1 remastered version on the Switch. We all, of course, wish and hope that Metroid Prime 2 and 3 were given the same treatment, but this video is covering the possibility that if this rumor is true, that this is what the games would look like in HD on the Switch. And quite frankly, it's not a bad thing, because what this does do is show that the original art was so fantastic that they did in Metroid Prime 2 and 3 that it can hold up this well in 2023. So in terms of the graphical quality of these ports, we'll have to just wait and see what happens. However, that also brings up the question, is if Nintendo is releasing Prime 2 and 3 with just being HD ports, what would they be charging for those games, since they charged only $39.99 for fully revamped graphics in Metroid Prime Remastered, a much more thorough remaster, basically having the graphics remade from the ground up, despite having everything else being exactly the same as the original game, including the music and AI animations. That was a lot more work involved, yet they only charged $39.99. So if they are releasing an HD remaster of Prime 2 and 3 with less attention to detail like that, and keeping basically the same assets and just sprucing them up a little bit, making things look a little bit better with textures and things like that, how much do you think they would charge for those two games? Or would they even release them both at the same time in a double pack? Some people had speculated they would do that, but knowing Nintendo, they like to get your money individually and for certain games, so probably my guess is that they would charge $29.99 for each of those games, so making $60 if you bought both. That would be my guess. Who knows exactly what they would do? Maybe they would still charge $39.99 for each of them. We don't know yet. However, $29.99 for each, and then selling them all later down the line as a trilogy package for like $89.99 or what have you, some type of collector's edition where you get all three games. That would be a pretty good possibility if they're selling them for $29.99 each, with Metroid Prime 1 getting the highest attention to detail as the price would suggest. But that's what we have for now, and as you can see in the comparisons we show in this video, an HD remaster that doesn't quite do the same thing as Metroid Prime 1 Remastered would not necessarily be a bad thing. The games still look great. Metroid Prime 2 and 3 still look amazing in my opinion. The art still holds up to this day. So it is a really exciting time to be a Metroid Prime fan. We got a lot of things to look forward to. And then of course the cherry on top is going to be when they reveal Metroid Prime 4, which is no doubt going to be coming soon, especially after they show these next games, which are most likely going to drop probably in a similar fashion as Metroid Prime 1 did, simply just out of nowhere and all of a sudden you're playing it. So we will be ready for that though, I guarantee it. So I'm excited to see what happens next, guys. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section, and if you did enjoy this discussion, guys, please hit the like button, and I'll talk to you very soon in the next video. Have a great day.